Now, next tonight. Today is World Suicide Prevention Day. An estimated 703,000 people die by suicide worldwide each year, and it's the leading cause of death for both males and females aged 20 to 34 in the UK. Alice Hendy lost her only sibling, her brother Josh, to suicide in 2020. He was just 21. Josh had been researching techniques to take his own life via harmful internet searches. So, Alice set up Ripple, a digital tool with which, if a user searches for harmful content online, they will first be guided through a filter of breathing exercises and then other simple strategies, helplines and services. To date, Ripple has been deployed on over 1.8 million machines worldwide and intercepted just under 20,000 harmful online searches. It continues to save lives from suicide on a daily basis. I've spoken to Alice earlier and asked her to tell me about her brother.
Josh was my little brother. He was 7 years my junior, my only sibling. He was life and soul of the party. His hobbies included music. We used to go to lots of concerts and gigs and festivals together up and down the country. He used to even DJ at his friends' parties and so on. So music was really his passion. He also loved football, big West Ham United fan with myself. We'd regularly go to football matches together. We were incredibly close. We go on breaks to different cities across Europe together, celebrate each other's birthdays every year by taking the day off of work, and we grew up in a very close-knit, small family.
And had you any inkling that there was something wrong?
Josh took his own life in November of 2020, so we were just really coming to grips really with COVID at that particular time. Josh had struggled throughout COVID with his mental health. He was vocal about how he was finding things tough, but nobody knew the extent of that, to be honest. We were all finding things tough at that time. You don't expect your 21-year-old brother to then go on and take his own life. So there were minimal signs, but I think really the key message here is that sometimes that there actually aren't any signs at all, and mental health doesn't discriminate. It can happen to anybody at any time.
And what were the little signs, the minimal signs as you've described them? What were they?
Josh put on a significant amount of weight. When you see someone regularly, you don't really notice it as much. But looking back, I think that was actually a sign. It showed that he wasn't looking after himself. He also lost interest in his appearance. He used to be very, very keen on making sure that he was looking good, wearing nice clothes, gelling his hair up when he went out, and all of that changed. He shaved all of his hair off. He would be wearing clothes that he had no care for. They weren't washed. Just lost complete interest, to be honest, in his appearance and what he looked like. And actually looking back, they are all signs that somebody might be struggling with their mental health. At that time, I didn't know that. So I'm on a mission now to really use my ignorance at that particular time as an action point for people out there now to stop this happening to them and their families.
And how you're at, and we'll talk about Ripple in a moment or two, but what Josh had been doing, he had been researching techniques to take his own life on the internet.
That's right. So Josh had been going online and conducting really harmful searches to do with how to end his life. And when he actually did that, he was given tips, encouragement. He was even given pain scales for each method of suicide to help him make a decision. And what? I found all of that material obviously after Josh had actually taken his life. So I had no idea that he was accessing this content. And I just couldn't believe really that this stuff existed on the internet, and these individuals exist where they are, actively encouraging people to do this.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Mm.
And so when you saw this, had he been looking at this material for a long time?
He'd been looking at it for a fair few months, to the extent where he had been practicing, able to, find materials and so on that would aid him in taking his own life. And I just couldn't believe the scope of this. This isn't stuff that you would come across, just on the dark web. This is readily available, accessible stuff that you really don't have to look hard to find. And the introduction, the very delayed introduction of the online safety bill will go, some way into mitigating that. Not far enough, but it will go some way. And, hopefully these individuals and these websites will eventually be held accountable, really, for their actions and the material that they're outwardly publishing and posting online on a daily basis.
Are they making money out of it? Or what is it? What's their motivation?
Yeah, absolutely. So the most recent example would be Kenneth Law, the chef that's based over in Canada, who's currently having to answer for his actions and was recently, I believe, apprehended by the National Crime Agency. Kenneth Law was selling poisonous substances over the internet to vulnerable individuals who were contacting him in a state of suicidal ideation and outwardly asking Kenneth Law to supply them with harmful substances that will allow them to end their life. So that was the most recent example, and Kenneth Law was making thousands out of those individuals.
So what did you decide to do?
When I looked through Josh's search history, I just couldn't believe what I was looking at. And I also couldn't believe that there was nothing out there online that existed to intervene or interrupt anybody who's so desperately low that they are actively searching for how to end their life. So because nothing existed, I created my own piece of technology. It's called Ripple. It's a browser extension. It can be downloaded on Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Opera, Firefox, Safari browsers. And once downloaded, it means that if an individual was to go online and conduct a harmful search relating to the topic of self-harm or suicide, then Ripple would intervene and interrupt that search, provide that person with a short breathing exercise at the beginning, which has been statistically proven to help that person reset what they're thinking, and then provide them with a selection of mental health resources that they can access both now and in the longer term. And it can also be deployed through Wi-Fi networks as well. So really, since Josh died, I've been on a mission to get Ripple on as many computers, as many Wi-Fi networks as possible at schools, colleges, universities, workplaces, businesses, to save lives and ultimately stop them from losing a loved one in this way, like myself.
And it's working, isn't it?
It is working. So I launched Ripple on World Suicide Prevention Day in 2021. So not long, really, after my brother had taken his life. And since that point, it's now had over 1.9 million downloads worldwide. It's interrupted just under 20,000 genuine harmful online searches. And even though the technology doesn't track or capture any personally identifiable information at all, we have, as a charity, been approached now by 26 individuals to tell us that they are still here because Ripple intervened at their most vulnerable point. And it's that really, Stephen, that keeps me ticking along on a daily basis.
Incredible. That's individuals who have reached out to you. You've clearly saved the lives of many, many more people. Clearly you have.
Yeah, I mean, they're only the 26 individuals who have been courageous and brave enough, to be honest, to come forward and actually say, look, I was searching for this harmful material online. Ripple came up for me. And as a result, I'm now seeking support or gaining some kind of mental health service, really, that can help them and assist them with their state of mind. There might be, and I'm sure there probably are, thousands more people out there worldwide who would have been intervened by Ripple that we don't know about. That's what Ripple is all about, interrupting people at that pivotal moment, really, that can change their mindset and let them know that there is hope and there is a brighter path for them.
How does the technology work? Is it all search word based? Is that how it works?
It's all search word based, yeah. So we've got lots of keywords that we plug into the back end of the technology. And that means that if any of those keywords are inputted into a search engine or on the internet, then Ripple is triggered. And it's a crisis intervention tool. So it won't trigger for searches around, mental health or well-being. It's a crisis intervention tool and will appear when somebody is clearly at a state, really, of wanting to end their life. And that's the point where we're preventing suicide, because we are letting them know that actually there is a different path. And there's some amazing support services that exist to help, not just telephone lines like the Samaritans, but also text services from Shout, a Calm web chat facility, apps that they can download onto their device to help manage their mental health each day. They can really choose a way in which really they can get mental health support in a way that suits them and resonates with them. My brother was 21. He was a young man. I would be lucky if I got a grunt out of him on the telephone at the best of times. So for him, opening up over the telephone to a stranger about his mental health was probably not going to resonate with him, and it didn't. But I think if he had known of text services or web chat options that he could use, that might have swayed him, and he might have actually reached out to get some support before he made that horrendous final decision.
And what does the research suggest? It's so simple an intervention, isn't it? So simply asking someone to stand back for a few seconds can save their life, can it? Really?
Yeah, it really can. When you're in a state of suicidal ideation and you're experiencing complete crisis, sometimes that's all it takes. It's the same way as in person. If somebody was experiencing crisis and they sparked up a conversation with that a stranger might spark up a conversation with that person and just say, have you got the time? Or do you know when the next train is going to arrive? Anything like that could just be that moment where that person thinks about something else. And it really is about that. It's about interrupting somebody at an absolutely crucial moment and getting their mindset on a different task, or sending it really down a different direction to let them know that, this isn't the way. There is always hope. And no matter how bad things might seem, there is always a way through it.
And you're wanting to get this onto the big social media platforms. Are they showing any interest?
That's the plan. At the moment, Ripple is on a huge number of businesses and corporate devices, airports, insurance companies, building societies, banks, even estate agents and landfill sites have got Ripple deployed across their networks. I've also got a huge uptake of Ripple now across schools, colleges and universities, both in the UK and globally. From a social media perspective, I've been banging on their door now for 2 years. I think at the beginning, Stephen, if I'm honest, it was a case of another grieving sister coming to them and asking them to make changes to really assist people who might be struggling with their mental health. Their standard response is usually around the fact that they are a social networking site and not a mental health service. They believe they're doing enough in this space. And I disagree with them. I don't think they're doing anywhere near enough, and a lot more can be done. So 2 years into my campaign, really, to rally them into doing more, and I won't stop until they do.
Are they showing any interest at all? Like, will they even meet you?
I haven't received responses from the majority of them, no.
How do you feel about that?
I think at the beginning I was expecting that, but now I've got a piece of technology that's got data and evidence that backs up what I'm saying, and it demonstrates that this technology is saving lives on a daily basis. So my aim and my goal is that one day they will listen to me, and that this will just be default, and it would just automatically be on any machines or any platforms to intervene when somebody is at a moment of crisis. But until that moment comes, I'm campaigning, raising awareness, encouraging people to open up and have those conversations. I'm just desperate, really, to try and stop people from feeling like me and my family after losing Josh.
Are you angry with them?
No, I don't think I'm angry with the social media companies. They do have some mitigation in place.
Sorry, I didn't put the question properly. I've spoken to those left behind because of suicide many times in the past, and sometimes they say to me that they're really angry with their loved one who took their own lives. They're angry
Josh, okay,
that they've been left behind, and I just wonder what emotion you're left with. He was clearly, no one that takes their own lives are thinking rationally. It's not their fault, and I'm not suggesting it is. I'm not suggesting it is for 1 second. But I just wonder how your brain copes with this.
My brain copes really differently on a day-to-day basis, if I'm honest. I really do experience a whole plethora of emotions regularly. I've gone through guilt. That's a regular emotion that comes up. What were the signs? Could I have spotted them? What didn't I say that maybe perhaps going back, I should have? All of those unanswered questions, really, that I now don't have the answers to and will never have the answers to. I'm desperately sad most of the time that my 21-year-old brother thought that suicide really was his only option, because it wasn't. Anger does come up now and again. I think more around, the fact that he has left me. He's left my parents. We struggle every day as a result. However, mental health is an illness, and he needed support and needed help. And for whatever reason, he didn't receive that. So unfortunately, that's something that we have to live with for the rest of our lives. And through my work at Ripple, I hope I can prevent this happening to other people.
Well, so do I. And you're certainly trying very, very hard, Alice. And thank you so much for sharing the project with us tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem, Stephen. Thanks very much for your time.
Now, if you've been affected by any of the issues in this discussion, there is a range of organisations and websites that can offer you advice and support. You can find them listed on the BBC's Action Line website at bbc.co.uk/action.